Time Machine is my least favorite level, as you can tell. It's very annoying and has way too many triple spikes. I just don't like it. There are like way too many triple spikes. Look at all that. There's already been 4. I just think it also introduced the mirror portal, which is very annoying, and its transition is not very sight readable. It's one of the least sight readable things. Yeah, there are a lot of like blind jumps, sort of, not like super blind jumps, but there are a good amount of blind jumps. Yeah, I did not have a fun time beating this level when I got to it. It took me like at least a month or 2 to actually finally beat it once I got to it. I beat, I think, actually 3 of everything before I beat this level. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's very annoying and unfair. And it just, I don't like it. Now, Cycles has a similar problem with Time Machine, wherein that it has very many triple spikes, and it doesn't really have any blind jumps, but it also took me a while to beat when I got to it, and it's just, I did not have a fun time beating it. And also, there are so many fake orbs. It's not really that difficult once you know the level. Like, they just ruin the design of the level. It just sort of looks thrown about and randomly scattered across the level. It's just, the only reason it's above Time Machine is because once you get past that first cube part, it is alright. The first ball section is really easy, but once you get to the ship section, the upside down ship was just introduced 2 levels ago, and you're already flipping back and forth, and it's just yeah. This cube section literally does nothing. And then the second ball part is way harder than the first one. It's a really big difficulty spike compared to the first one. It's not that hard later on, but it's first playing this level, it's really hard. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Geometrical Dominator. This level, man, it's pretty annoying. It uses a lot of moving objects that are really surprising and just they just seem like really fast reaction, like here and here. This wave part's fine. It's just sort of a generic wave part. Now here's one of the worst cases in the level. This part, I will admit, it's pretty fun. And the music is pretty good in this level. This ship's a bit of a difficulty spike, but not too bad. This UFO part is really easy. It's almost free. And now the infamous memory part. Why was this included? It's so confusing and out of nowhere. And Geometry Dash is not really a memory game, especially in the official levels. Then this wave part is fine. These little diamonds are really out of place. And now, on the ball part, these moving objects are fine, but you know, it can be a little confusing. And the ending is fine with some weird moving on. Can't Let Go, most people's bottom. I pretty much agree with most people say about Can't Let Go. It's very generic and boring, and it is way too much of a difficulty spike after bass, and it just, yeah, I don't like it. Also, the music is not good either. It's probably the second worst music. Time Machine at least had good music, but Cycles and Can't Let Go, their music is trash. And there's this random black part thrown about. It's just, why is it there? It's just, why? Like, and then there's the free ship part. Like, it's completely free. Once you get to here, you're just guaranteed to get to the upside down section. And speaking of the upside down section, it is, like, way harder than anything you've done so far. It just cranks up everything you've done so far to 11. With orb timings, jumps, or specific jumps, and yeah. And the ending is just back to a generic 1.0 level. Bass After Bass is like Can't Let Go's slightly better counterpart. And I still say slightly. They're basically interchangeable except for the difficulty. They look the same, and they just look the same. And the generic parts are the same, but Can't Let Go has that upside down section. And Bass After Bass has a great song in my opinion, but the level is just boring. It's the most forgettable Geometry Dash level. It's just, there's not much to say about it. There's also another thrown in random dark part that doesn't make any sense. Like, why is it there? Then this ship is also really easy. I mean, it's at actually a good level for what you're at. Yeah, but it's just so generic. Bass After Bass is like the definition of a generic 1.0 level. And like this part here, it's just default blocks as the bottom. Like, why? That doesn't look very good. And the ending, like Can't Let Go, is just back to another generic 1.0 level. Next up, we have Dry Out. Dry Out introduces the upside down portal, but it really only uses it once, so I'm not quite sure why it didn't focus more on it. And the music is alright. I don't really like it sometimes, but Dry Out's just like a confusing level. It is sort of like another generic 1.0 level. It is a little more distinctive than Can't Let Go and Bass After Bass, but it is still pretty generic. And the upside down part has some tricky timings for beginners, especially upside down when they're just learning to be upside down. And then it doesn't return at all for the next half of the level, which is weird. I don't get it. And then this ship part is another ship part with, or not another, this ship part with random blocks in the way. This does make a little more sense with the spikes, but the first one is a little weird. And then this part is alright. There's nothing special about it, but nothing bad at it. It's a decent ending. Next we have Clutterfunk. Clutterfunk, it is kind of fun, but it also is kind of annoying. There are a lot of difficulty spikes and balancing issues. The mini portal is introduced well, I will give it that, This is sort of starting to the levels that I actually enjoy and replay. It's just there are so many and a lot of them are very enjoyable. Now this ship part, this is a huge difficulty spike. It doesn't even look comparable to the first part. This ball part is pretty fun and the music is kind of crazy and I like it, but it is pretty unbalanced compared to the first cube part. The mini ship is a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad, really. It's just going up and down. This part is completely free. The mainly reason this level is so low is because of balancing issues. Then this part, it starts to get a little trickier with some blind jumps and some trickier timings. And now it's gonna start getting way trickier with way trickier timings and even more blind jumps. It's just really unbalanced in my opinion. That's why I put it this low. Now Deadlocked. This isn't my footage because I suck at the game and I haven't beaten it yet, but Deadlocked is confusing and unbalanced. The wave spams in this wave part are really tricky, and this ship part is kind of memory and I don't like the moving objects. This part is pretty cool, but you don't have much time to react to it. This part is fine, but it's easier than most other parts. Same with this part. The timings are a little tighter. This part does fit in, but once you know how it works, it is pretty easy. Same with this part. This part's pretty easy. These orbs timings can get a little tricky with jumping over certain parts, and then this robot part is another easy part. And then this ship part is really hard and confusing with all the gravity changes and the size changes and the teleportals. This part I really like this part. It's the first boss fight, and I think it was well executed. Now this has to be the second worst part of the level. It's really hard and unbalanced. This part's fine, I guess. And this is the worst part. It's completely memory. You have to memorize it all. This is fine. I guess like this part. This part is in the same way that the first ship part is memory, and the ending is way easier than the rest of the level. X-Step. I like X-Step. I feel like it's a decent insane entry-level insane, but I feel like it is too easy for the insane rating. It is the first level you could say that has decoration. I think X-Step is pretty good. The music isn't the greatest, but some of the pad timings and orb timings are cool. This first part of the ship part is decently hard, but then the rest is pretty much free. You just have to fly in the middle and you'll be completely fine. And even if you do hit the pads, you won't die. You'll just get a little disoriented. New players will probably die. This isn't the greatest introduction to the blue pad, but it's alright. I like the timings here. This part is cool because it introduces like going through walls and like I like the going over certain jump pads. This ball part is pretty good. It's like easier than the second Cycles ball part, and I don't get that. This is an insane level. And the last ship part, it's fine. It's nothing special. Stereo Madness, the level that started it all. When you ask someone to think of a Geometry Dash level, 9 times out of 10 they'll think of this one. And it's a good introductory level. It introduces you to jumping over spikes, avoiding spikes, and where and when you cannot jump. It's a good introductory level, and it also introduced the ship. The ship part is pretty easy, but it is the first level that people will play, and they're not gonna know how to control the ship at all. And then you get into more jumps where you learn how to fall in certain places, when to fall, when to jump on certain platforms when it looks like it's going down, but you still have to jump. And then a triple spike, which I guess is fine, but it might be kind of tough for new people. I guess it kind of fits with the ending of the level of more tough jumping than before, but I just feel like it's a little out of place for the first level in the game. And the last ship part builds off what you learned in the first part and makes it harder and having to move up and down and stay in the middle more. And I just think Stereo Madness is a good first level. Back on Track introduces the jump pads, and even though it does do that, I think it is a better introductory level than Stereo Madness. There are still times when you fall and jump and stuff, and it teaches you that not all jump pads can be hit, but there are no out-of-the-place triple spikes that beginners could get stuck on. It does look a little generic 1.0-y, but I feel like it's pretty distinctive from the other levels. Yeah, it teaches you when to hit a jump pad and when to not. This ship part is pretty good. It teaches off what you learned in Stereo Madness about going up and down and staying in the middle. Then it gets into some harder timings with some jumping directly after a jump pad, and some falling and going through blocks, and like going up and down, and basically just reinforcing when you should jump and when you should fall. Just getting you used to the control still while also introducing the jump pad. Poltergeist. Poltergeist is a good level introducing the jump orbs or the rings. Yeah. I like this level a lot. I think the music is really good, and has a cool color scheme, and it looks good for a 1.0 level, and there are less default blocks than other ones. It's still reinforcing when to fall. Now this ship part, again like the one in Dryout, it's just random cubes in the way, and it's like, it doesn't really make sense, but it's alright. Now you get into more orb timings and falling and jumping after an orb or falling after an orb. Yeah. And you learn when to hit an orb, and still ultimately reinforcing when to fall and when to jump. And these, when you fall in those staircases, the music is really good in the sync. And it's a great level, in my opinion. And then you get into some more tighter timings and some more orb timings. Not really orb timings, but you know. Jumper is by far the best 1.0 level, and this level works more on your like sight reading, especially when upside down. You learn even more when to fall and when to jump, and when it looks like you should fall. And this ship part is completely open, but it does introduce the upside down ship, which, I mean, it doesn't really, again, like Dryad, it doesn't return later in the level, but I feel like it's such a weird change to the ship that people need a lot of getting used to it. And the rest of the level is more upside down sight reading, falling and jumping when it looks like the opposite. Yeah. Overall, Jumper is a fun level, and I had a fun time beating it. This ship part is cool, but it is, again, sort of random clutter in the way. I do like it more because it kind of is more cohesive. You could think of it as little arrows flying through the sky. And then at the end, there's more falling and jumping and timings. Well, upside down and stuff. And you learn when to fall. Like here, you can see that it looks you should fall, but you really shouldn't. Club Step. Club Step is good, but the fake orbs and the fakes can be really confusing to new people, especially with the uses in Clutterfunk and X-Step, the fake blocks earlier. They're nothing near as intense as what Club Step did with fakes. And this ship part is pretty good. Yeah, this is the first demon level. I feel like the invisible spikes are reasonable. And the fake orbs, yeah, the fake orbs, because it is a demon level and the fakes, I feel like it's more justified. Because this level is supposed to be the hardest difficulty. And with an insane, it's still supposed to be not that hard. And, yeah, there are lots of fake orbs here. The footage coming up is not mine because I died, because, you know, I'm pretty bad. Yeah, there are lots of fakes from here on out. There are even, like, fake parts where you have to fly way out of where you think you're supposed to be. They're very tight ship sections, and lots of fake orbs and sort of blind jumps. But I think it's a good level, and it's more justified. Alright. Hey, Theory of Everything 2. Again, not my footage. Haven't beaten it yet. Any footage that is not mine, I haven't beaten the level yet. And yeah, this one is fun. It uses a lot of fakes like Club Step and invisible blocks. Yeah, there's a lot of difficulty. It's more difficult than any level you've played before. And there are tight timings in the UFO and lots of fake orbs and fake blocks. Some of them are marked. And the breakable blocks using disguise, which path is the right path. And there are some fake slopes here. And this wave, it is, I feel like, a little too easy for a demon level. And this ball part is really confusing. This wave is a little tighter, but it's still not too tight. And this is pretty good. It uses fakes, but it's still, like, tight. And this part. I feel like this part is so much of a difficulty spike compared to the rest. It is just so much more difficult. This is good timings for a demon level. And this is the first mini wave use, but I feel like it is pretty easy. Now is Finger Dash. Finger Dash is an iconic level, and there's a debate whether it looks good or it looks bad. I personally think it looks okay. It doesn't look the best, but you know, it's good enough. The song is pretty good. The beginning is a little strange, but the pre-drop and the drop are really good, and it teaches you many mechanics that were introduced in 2.1 very well, like the dash orb, the black orb, the red orb, and the spider. The spider is pretty easy, but it is your first time controlling it, and yeah. This ship is really cool. It's way different from any other ship parts. yet, and I love how it uses the fire bar. This UFO part is kind of filler, but I don't know. It's not the worst, it's not too long. This wave part is cool, and it looks cool visually, like you're inside a volcano. And the coin is pretty difficult, but it adds some more excitement. This spider part has some decently tight timings, but not too bad. This UFO part is a little filler, and the ending is like cool as well, because it kind of looks like you're inside like a castle as well. Electrodynamics. This level is really fun. It's so satisfying once you finally beat it, and the speed changes are so fun too. There are some parts that do use mechanics a little out of place, and it is very unbalanced, but it is still such a fun time to play, and is really satisfying to beat. This ship part, it does kind of spike in difficulty from the rest of it, but it does fit in with the rest of the level. This UFO part has some awkward timings, but it's alright. This one is hard, but not really any weird timings. And then this cube part is just free. Same with this ball part. And here we get into what's really fun. This part is really difficult at first, but it is so satisfying to pull off. Same with this one. This ball part is filler, but it's like a stretch break. And this is sort of like testing your reflexes with the quad spikes. And this ship part is kind of difficult, but not as difficult as the rest. Blast processing. This level, while being easier, is still really fun and satisfying to play, and I find myself coming back to it a lot. It introduces the wave. It is pretty easy once you learn how the wave works, but it's the first time, like I said earlier, you're controlling this new game mode. This ship part has really good music. It is a little easy, but this level is easier than most. Blast processing is just overall really fun to play, and it just feels really fun. This wave part is fun, and it is tighter than the first one. And this dual wave may look confusing at first, but once you learn that it's symmetry, it's fine. And these might look confusing at first. And this part is pretty fun. It's a little fillery. This UFO part is fun in my opinion. Some of the timings are a little awkward, but they're really not that bad. They're just a little awkward for a harder level. This ball part is pretty fun too. This UFO part is really fun. Gliding off the slopes and jumping over the spikes or saws. And the ending, the music just makes it so much more satisfying. Listen. Now, Hexagon Force. Hexagon Force is like blast processing, but cranked up to 11. It's way more satisfying and way more fun. I think part of that is the difficulty, but yeah. They do look kind of visually similar, but they're just both so fun to play. And they have similar vibes, but Hexagon Force is more difficult. Hexagon Force introduced the slopes and the duels. The slope jumps are a little awkward at first, and this duel can be tricky to learn. Now, these sets of jumps are annoying, but it kind of introduced how the duel can be used. This orb part is just for the fun. It's just sort of, break. This UFO part is pretty fun. It like has a little tight timings. Now this ball part can be confusing at first. This dual ship, again, it's symmetry, but it's a little tight. I like how you can sort of glide off the slopes and not die. It just sort of trips you up, like what it did in X Step. I like that design for the monster. And this part and the block design are just really cool, visual looking. And the music in this level, in general, just goes hard. And this ending, oh my god, it's one of the best endings to a Geometry Dash level of all time. Electroman Adventures. This level is really fun and somehow feels electric, and the music is like electric. Well, it is electronic, but it feels like very electronic. And it's just really fun to play, and I had a great time beating this level the first time. I did. It's so fun. The timings, the music is great. I love this level. This UFO part it's pretty good. Some of the timings are a little awkward. This ship part is nice. It's a little tighter than the other parts. This part is pretty fun. It's just kind of Flappy Bird, but I kind of like that. That transition is hard to read at first, but this ship part is pretty fun. The music goes really hard right here. And the ending ball, that part is really fun, and the music is really good. Theory of Everything. This level is so fun. The ship part, it's really good. The music in this level is also phenomenal. One of the best, probably the best Geometry Dash song. It introduces the UFO, which is one of my favorite game modes. I really like it. The ball part is pretty fun too. It's kind of orb spamming like the part in Hexagon Force, but that's fun. This ship part is decently tight as well. This part is pretty fun, and I like that sort of timings. This UFO part is fun. Again, this has more timings, and the pick a path, not really though, because it tells you, is fun as well. In this ending, the music goes really hard as well. Now, for the best level. Dash. This may be a little controversial, or it may just be the 2.2 hype, but Dash is the funnest experience I've had beating a Geometry Dash level. It's so fun, and the new features are really cool, and the music is phenomenal. It is the perfect choice for an official Geometry Dash theme song. And what other level to end the list with than the official Geometry Dash level song? This level just goes so hard, and it's so fun to play. And this part where the music goes quiet and it's building to the second drop.
3, 2,
and this.
1. Geometry Dash.
That has to be one of the greatest drops of all time. It is so great. I'm just gonna let you listen to the rest of the song and watch the level. It's fun and amazing.